wish I wasn't so damn awkward. When I was 21, I had a hard time talking to women. I still do now, but I did then also. So, Mitch Hedberg. So to help matters, my friend Pete and I ran a Thursday night volleyball league out of our church basement. This was in the main line, so we ended up working out well for us because we got a lot of nannies and au pairs. One of them was Pam. Pam was a nanny from Montana. Great girl. Everybody had a crush on her. It was Pam's 21st birthday. We wanted to do something special for her, but all of us, whether we lived at home or we had apartments so small you had to like stack pets on top of pets. So what we did back in that day, and I don't know if anybody can relate to this, we did a hotel room party. Basically what that is, if you're not familiar, we would rent a hotel room, usually the biggest one, and just see how many people and alcohol we could fit in it before we get kicked out. So this is what we did, and the party actually went really well. Towards the end of the night, people were whether leaving or staking out their spot in the hotel or in the room. There were 2 queen-size beds and a sofa. My buddy Pete claimed the sofa right off the bat. Pam took the 1 queen bed, and my other friend Doug, who also had a crush on Pam, kind of weaseled in there next to her on the bed. And then the only 2 left was myself and a girl we had just met that night, Kristen, who was an au pair from Germany, who was, despite having a crush on Pam, Kristen was probably one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in person. And here it was, like, the only bed left, it was myself and her. And Kristen had no problem. She got in the bed, got under the covers, went to sleep. I kind of lay stiff, like on top of the covers, like painfully aware that I was next to this beautiful woman in bed. But luckily, the alcohol of the night kind of like lilted me to sleep, and I went to sleep. Now, there's a moment when you wake up some morning and it's not your own bed where you kind of have to like adjust the situation and figure out where you are and what you're doing. And so I wake up. Early dusk. I could see in the room. The first thing I see is a big, crappy piece of art of like fruit. So I'm like, all right, I'm in a hotel room. The second thing I see Pete kind of sprawled out on the couch. I look over at the other bed and there's Pam sprawled out. Before I had a chance to realize where Doug was, I saw he was on the floor. At some point, he got exiled to the floor. No blanket, kind of hugging a pillow. And then there's me, and next to me is Kristen, and I kind of look over, and she, believe it or not, she looked as good in the morning as she did the night before. So I was kind of like, still kind of worried about it. And did I tell you I was awkward? So plus I watched a lot of TV, and she was sleeping so peacefully, I had it in my mind that she was not breathing. And I watch too much TV, and what do you do in that situation? I wasn't going to jostle her. I was not going to touch her at all. I've seen shows where you get a mirror and you hold it under, and if there's steam under it, obviously I didn't have a mirror on me. So I did what any sane person would do, is I licked the back of my hand and held it under her nose, hoping to like feel breath. But it ended up working in another way that she kind of like, because you can imagine what like my saliva smelled like after a night of Bud Ice and Malibu. So I held on, and she kind of turned around and moved over. So I'm like, okay, she's alive, everything's okay. She's asleep, so she didn't catch that. So that was that. Later, when we were packing up, Kristen came up to me. She asked me if I wanted to go to a movie later that night, and I said, sure. I kind of like forgot about Pam at this point, but so one movie turned into another movie, and then a couple dates, and then finally we were a couple, and I felt like I needed like no secrets from her, so I felt like I needed to confess what I did that night, or that morning, I should say. And so I told her what I did, and she just looked at me, and I guess many men would recognize like when their significant other like looks at them like they did something like sweetly stupid. She goes, Jim, I was awake that whole time. The hardest thing I ever had to do in my life was not laugh in your face when you were calling me out. And I'm not going to say what happened after that, but I can tell you that tonight I'm here with one of our kids. So that's it. And I always say that because I want my child to know that they exist because I'm awkward.